20 years ago today, the Leafs happened to hire John Ferguson Jr. Perfect symmetry for confirm or deny.
20 years ago today.
20 years ago today, back in 2003. What were you doing?
I was
Notre Dame
at the University of Notre Dame.
Okay, there you go.
Pretty good team.
Probably preparing for the Fighting Irish to play on a Saturday, right?
In fact, yeah, this time of year, there would have been we wouldn't be playing hockey yet, but there'd be a football game tomorrow, or Saturday rather, so I'd be preparing for that.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
That'd be a good part of the tailgate.
Yeah, I'm thinking that was Brady Quinn, Jeff Samardzija. Those were fun.
That would have been right around that. I think Quinn was in the 04 draft, so he probably would have been a junior. That would have been Charlie Weiss.
BCS teams.
Probably top 10 team in the country.
They were.
Yeah. All right, there you go.
I was there.
You were there, Poulin. I love it. All right, confirm or deny. Statements are made. We go around the table. We confirm that they'll happen or we deny. It's very simple stuff. Confirm or deny. Your boy, Davis Schneider, will break camp next spring and start the season on the Blue Jay roster, the big league roster.
I will confirm that. Wow. Davis Schneider is an element. He's an ingredient. I actually, after Steve said that, I went back and looked at his minor league stats. They were much better than I thought, but I was speaking more to the pedigree of a 28th round player.
Right.
Because these guys come in so heralded, and it's Malcolm Gladwell. The top draft picks get all the attention, get all the best coaching, get all the best spots. That's why they become better. And the other guys have to just figure it out and grind.
Yeah, you're on your own, man.
Hey, you're on your own.
What are you made of?
You're on your own. It's
all
just
right.
like had you been given a different starting point in your junior career, who knows?
That's a very good point, Poulin. I was the Davis Schneider of my junior career.
You
and
did not have that mustache or those glasses.
No, I didn't.
It's part of the look, but there is an energy there. And
there is.
There just is.
And production right now. But I am
huge production.
I am a cynic by nature.
It's a role. I didn't say he was going to start.
No, I understand that. He's just got to be one of the 26 guys to break camp.
Confirm that.
I'm going to deny it just because I feel like I've seen this story so many times in pro sports where there's a guy that catches lightning in a bottle. It's incredible. I don't know what Davis Schneider is in a week, let alone in 6 months. Does he have a great spring training? Like, I can't picture a scenario, even if he has a really good September. It's difficult to picture a scenario where they game plan through the winter with him as a player on the team. In other words, I think he has to show up in the spring and make the team still. Like, I think it has to carry over.
Well, he can do that.
He very well could. There's no disputing that. But if he has a bad spring training, I don't think they look past it and say he's still our guy. I think he's got to consistently keep going.
So I came out of nowhere. I played the last 2 games of the regular season. I played the 3 games in the playoffs. Longest summer of my life. I'm reading a Roger Angell, the great baseball writer, book about a guy that came up to the majors, and it was late in the year, tore it up, absolutely tore it up. And then Roger, the way the great writer wrote, he said, and then faded away, never to be heard from again. To some, the best comes first, a miserable arrangement. I cut that quote out, Bryan, and carried that in my wallet.
Do not allow that to be you.
13 years. I literally did. I was not going to allow the best to come first. I scored on my first 2 shots in the NHL.
You had 2 goals on 2 shots?
And then I led the team in scoring in the playoffs.
Wow.
And I was not going to let that be it for me. And so Davis Schneider should cut that quote out. To some, the best comes first. A miserable arrangement.
Yeah.
And carry it around in his wallet.
All right. You're a positive guy, Poulin, and you can speak from your own experience.
I did not have that mustache.
No, you should have, though. That would have been a great look back then. I mean, that was probably in.
That would have been in.
Bet you half your teammates had that mustache, minimum. All right, confirm or deny. Auston Matthews should be the favorite to win the Rocket Richard this season.
I will confirm that. He should be the favorite.
McDavid had 60. Robertson had a lot of goals. You have Draisaitl scores 50 every year.
And Pasternak is in the mix.
Yes, he had 60.
I think that in many ways, it's not a bounce back, obviously. I think, he's so capable. But I think at this age that he's at, in the space he's at, the contract is part of it. He's as secure as he can possibly be, and yet got it on the terms that he wanted. Everything is going in his favor right now. Everything.
Yep.
Yes,
I agree.
I will confirm.
I confirm it as well. 1 year does not take the title away from you as best goal scorer in the world. And I think he's established that for the better part of 3 or 4 years. He took the baton from Ovechkin. Ov's still a great goal scorer. Ovi's, I don't think, in a position where he can touch up against 60 ever again. I'm not sure he scores 50 again. Still a great player. But Ovechkin had that for about 12 years, 13 years.
Yeah.
Like basically from the second he walked in the league, he was
And
the best
won
goal
the
scorer in world.
Rocket 8 times, 9 times in those 12 or 13
Consistently.
years.
And even the down years, it was still like, that's Ovi. Like, Ovi's the guy. Matthews' down year was 41 goals. Something was off with him. There was like an injury that was kind of lingering. It never felt like he really took off. And if you look at the analytics, like the stats, goals above, all that kind of stuff, through the roof. Like, he was still getting shots on net. He's still a guy that gets into the slot, gets the puck, and gets it on net. Still think he's got the best release in the game. Yeah, I expect he wins the Rocket.
And physically.
Not just favored to do so.
And mentally.
I think it's
age-wise, he's just coming in.
He's right in the wheelhouse, and I think the contract being over and behind him, and he's just going to breathe.
It's huge.
And I think he's going to have a massive year again. I think he launches back into Hart contention, and I think he scores 50-plus in his sleep if he's healthy. Like, if he plays 82 games, I wouldn't be shocked if he touched 60 again. Close to it. Would not surprise me at all. Best goal scorer in the world. I think it's not a guarantee. These are odds. McDavid could score 50-plus again. Draisaitl does it every year. Robertson, Pasternak.
I think we're going to have a year with more goals. I really do.
Well, like year over year recently, Poulin, that's been the case.
Well, the goalies aren't matching the game right now. The game is the lateral pass. I talked to a goalie coach yesterday and talked about the lateral pass and what that's done to goalies physically.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's a different game.
It's killing them.
It's killing them. Injury-wise.
Injury-wise, that's the thing. Guys' groins, hips.
Brian, the lateral pass now is harder than any shot that we ever saw in our
Right.
And the movement required of a goaltender is a whole different. Now, they are starting to train differently, I will tell you, for their knees, for their lateral
like
push.
Hips and groins.
Absolutely.
And stuff, yeah.
They're starting to train differently because of the way the game has changed.
Mm-hmm.
You think of two talented guys coming down, Marner and Matthews. And we're thinking, shoot the puck. And they're thinking, I'm going to laterally pass this 110 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's going to shoot it harder.
And the guy can't get across.
Not a chance.
Yeah. Well, that was like the book got out on a lot of different goalies, but that a lot of people look at the Matt Murray issues with what happened with him later in his career. That was it, man.
Now, physically, you've got
guys
to
figure that out.
And guys defend that pass well. Stick position is good.
Like, when is it on the coach to decide, hey, we got to help our goalie out here and stop this? Force a guy to shoot.
It's hard to.
Like, when do they start playing 2-on-1s completely differently? Basically, just say, take this guy, shoot him. Yeah, let him shoot, which is dangerous, though, if the guy's coming down Broadway. It's Auston Matthews. Sure you want him to shoot?
Goals are going up again. This will be an Auston Matthews benefit.
I agree with you on that. Confirmed tonight, Dak Prescott, the quarterback for the Cowboys, should have been notified of the Trey Lance trade in advance. Should have been given the heads up.
I will deny that.
Really?
I will. Players play.
Mm-hmm.
Managers manage. Now, the coach,
I can't believe Mike McCarthy was not given the heads up.
whispered something to my coach.
Yeah.
If I were picking up the former 3rd overall pick in the draft.
Right.
As a quarterback, who, by the way, was in 2021. This isn't like 10 years ago. I might inform the coach, but no, I don't think you have to let a player know.
I'm denying it as well. I agree with you. I mean, and let's be honest, Dak, they paid Dak a lot of money. Dak's the man. Trey Lance is not coming in here to take his job right now. Like, it would be different if they acquired some guy with legitimate pedigree that could possibly push Dak. That's not happening. Dak's not scared of Trey Lance right now. He might be scared of Trey Lance a year from now, 2 years from now. But Dak is coming off a pretty terrible statistical season. They still played as well as they did. That's how good that team is. I got to give credit to Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. They are loaded with talent. Loaded. And I like this Trey Lance gamble. Why not? It's a 4th-round pick from an arch nemesis in San Fran.
I'm making that in a second.
Every day of the week. Bring him in, see what he's got. If you got to pull an Angels and you're going to cut him in 6 weeks, so be it. You paid a 4th to see what's under the hood. But I don't think Dak Prescott is in any position to be notified of a trade like this.
No.
There are certain guys in the league that I would say, like Patrick Mahomes. Absolutely, I'm telling Patrick Mahomes. I do think you're right, players play, but some players are different.
Oh, I think Mahomes is different than Prescott.
Mahomes is getting told this is what's coming.
I agree.
Maybe Joe Burrow's getting that. Maybe Josh Allen's getting that.
I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I'll bet you Rodgers would in New York because of who he is and what he represents now with the Jets.
And then
but
he'll
Dak's
call
not
you,
there.
Then he'll call you and tell you.
Then he'll probably be the one that would notify.
Because he thinks you're still a supporter of his.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not rooting against him. There's a big...
You're not rooting for him.
I'm not rooting for him. I'm rooting for him to stay healthy. 65 snaps. 65%.
Point. We didn't get told ahead of time, but I was told after more than once. And Clarky used to do this, He'd walk up to you and he'd say, "Yeah, we think we drafted your replacement this year. He's really good. He plays really hard."
Yeah.
You just look at him and go, what is that
Thanks,
supposed
man.
to mean?
Am I motivated by this? Thanks, bro.
Great, I'll have him
appreciate
over
it.
to dinner.
Yeah, that's my guy. That helps that kid walking into the room. That's what that guy wants. Confirm or deny, Connor Bedard will have more points than at least one of the Maple Leafs core 4 players. Just one of the core 4. Bedard will beat them in points.
I will confirm that.
Ooh, Poulin.
Okay, here's what I've established in watching him play. And we've done, we're fortunate enough to do the U18s and, we watch them come up.
Yep.
He's going to score goals in the National Hockey League. He can create his own shot. He doesn't need somebody else to do it for him, as some of the finishers do. Like, he can create his own shot. But he's also going to have the best passers he's ever had passing to him next year.
Best defenders he's ever had, too, trying to defend him.
He will, but he's going to have Seth Jones passing to him. He's going to have Taylor Hall passing to him, Tyler Johnson, NHL players.
Right.
And he's never had that level of support. It's not going to be a good team, but he's going to have a level of support that he isn't. He's going to score goals. He's going to score goals on the power play. He shoots the puck like no one I've seen come into the league. You just don't see.
He's a stud. He's a generational talent. Gets thrown out there probably a little bit too liberally, but like he seems like he's in the McDavid, Sid, Lindros, Lemieux, Gretzky vibe.
I'm so careful with that term. I just am.
I know, but that's the hype. The
I
hype
know,
is if
I
this
know.
guy's anything but a top 10 player in the league for the next decade, it's a disappointment.
They've been pretty spoiled with players in that market.
In Chicago, I would suggest so.
I was in the building when there were 6,000 people in there in 2007 and 2008.
Right.
And, they were just marveling about these 2 kids coming, and guess what? They were right.
Exploded. I'm going to deny this, though. I have him at 25 goals, maybe 70 points, because everything you said is accurate. He's playing with the best talent he's ever played
Every power
against.
play.
But I look at that Chicago team. I think they're terrible.
They are.
And I know he's going to be PP1. He's going to play 20 minutes on that. But I think they got to be careful with him too. He's not a big guy. I think they're not that there'll be load management, but you don't want to drive him into the ground. You are not expecting big things from a team standpoint this year.
I think they'll be smart, but I just think the opportunity is going to be there because he's going to be the first line winger.
He's going to play a ton. But if assuming health across the board, Matthews get more points, Marner's get more points. I think Willie will too. I think Willie's an 80-point guy. It's Tavares that possibly drops off. But last year I was waiting for John to fall off and become more of a 25-goal, 60, 65-point guy, and he did not. He has been very consistent throughout his career.
I'm just going with the field here.
Yeah, no, exactly. And the field would suggest one of the Leafs.
Right.
Or Bedard ends up with 80 points, 85 points, which is absolutely a possibility. I think it's tough as an 18-year-old in the NHL on an awful team. And
it's tough.
The Leafs, these 4 guys are all in their primes. JT's kind of at the end of it, but still, they're going to be a really good team. They're all PP1
guys too.
They get to play with really good guys. Yeah, I think the Leafs. I think the core 4 just get past them. Beyond that, there's no way I'm answering that the same way next year.
Yeah, I think we're going to see something special in Chicago. I do. In that player, not in the team.
I think you're right, and I'm certainly hoping for that because. Again, the hype is there. And what we saw at the World Juniors, we've known about this kid since he was 14, 15. Mm-hmm. Those are rare stories that you hear of a kid when he's that young, exceptional status, and he's stepping in and he lights up everything.
Well, with Patrick Kane, it was 15 for me. And they took him on one of my assistant coaches was on the U16 coaching staff that went over to play in one of the, 4 nations or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he came back and said, "You should see this 15-year-old.
Unreal.
He said he's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And he's tiny. He goes, but it doesn't matter.
Didn't matter. Yeah. Well, you look at his stats, when he went to London, I think he only played a year with the Knights.
He did.
I think he had 165 points or something. Like it was crazy.
Tiny then.
Yeah, and he's
So Denny Savard coached that first year, right? Before he got fired, like 4 games in, and they
Right.
put Joel Quenneville in. And Denny Savard, I remember talking to him beforehand and how excited he was to work with that young man. And Denny Savard's a little guy. And I said, "Are you worried about his size?" He just laughed. He just said, "Look at me, Poulin."
yeah, no, that's true. Worked out pretty well for Denny.
He was just fine.
They had worked out pretty well for Patrick Kane.